CO2 does not need to be expensive and is not hard to install. I have a link to the CO2 kit I used, or an equivalent kit if mine is no longer available. They're all quite similar. First, get a couple 2-liter bottles of your favorite diabetes drink. Swap one out for the diet variant for an additional challenge. Go ahead and chug both of them down. I'll wait. Alright, now that you have diabetes, we can go to the next step. Prepare just a little short of a cup of baking soda, and the same amount for citric acid. You can get citric acid at most grocery stores and pharmacies, as well as on Amazon. Prepare the same portion of water for your baking soda mixture. Screw on the side with the pressure gauge with the citric acid bottle. The baking soda bottle screws on the other cap. Now this is a solenoid. This device allows us to automate CO2 diffusion. Hook it onto a timer and set the timer to turn the CO2 on and off to your preference. A little pro tip is to time the start of the CO2 an hour before your lights turn on, so that enough CO2 has built up in your system. Likewise, set the timer to turn off CO2 an hour before your lights are scheduled to turn off, as there will be an excess of CO2 in your tank for around an hour after it stops. After the solenoid comes the bubble counter. This is very important as it will allow you to determine exactly how much CO2 is going into your system, so you can properly determine the best amount later on with some trial and error. Oh yeah, and if you've ever seen this flaccid thing in a planted tank and wondered why, this is a drop checker. It lets you know by color if you have the optimal amount of CO2 in the tank. I don't like using this if I don't have to. I don't enjoy the aesthetic. Luckily, we'll be using a minimal amount of CO2 and under injecting, but please, if this is your first time, get that drop checker. It's the main way to accurately measure your tank's CO2 levels. From the bubble counter, we go straight to the CO2 diffuser, or as I like to call it, the mini alto saxophone. Or a very classy cigar. Build up enough so that the needle is in the green zone. So repeat this process until that happens. Alright, green zone. Green means go. Now all we have to do is place our diffuser into the tank and turn the release knob. Wow. Don't go crazy with it, always take it slow with CO2. You might end up gassing your fish if you inject too much, too quickly. And that's it. Nothing to it. CO2 is a great way to enhance a couple of different aspects in your aquarium, so if you're considering it, this DIY place is not a bad place to start at all. Do your research, there's tons of information out there on these specifics. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, there'll be more videos to come, and don't forget to get your hands wet.